We're now going to demonstrate an exercise that is just a demonstration of some instruments and in fabrication of archwires. The reason that we are doing this as a demo and not as an exercise is because of the expense of the instruments and the difficulty in obtaining them, and students in the past have argued that they just don't use it enough to justify it. My thoughts on it are that you guys should be exposed to how archwires were fabricated or are fabricated whenever you don't go to the store and just buy an archwire that's pre-made. The instruments that we're going to need for this exercise and demonstration are a heavy wire cutter, ribbon arch pliers, and a torquing turret. And we're going to be bending 1825 rectangular stainless steel wire. Now, historically, before you could just go to the orthodontic supply company and buy any kind of arch wire, any shape, any size that you wanted, you bent your own. And whenever you bent your own, it required you have this instrument. This is called a torquing turret. And a torquing turret I want everybody to get a chance to handle this, and we'll pass a couple of them around. And of course, you are welcome to buy these, and they're out there. If you need help in locating where to purchase one, I can help you with that. Just ask. But if you look at this turret, it slides apart. It's got this rod right here, a series of little grooves in the center. And it's got some numbers that are really hard to see. I'll try to get it in the picture here. I don't know why they've chosen to, maybe I've just worn them all off. That's probably about as good as I'm going to get. Anyway, if you look really close, you've got 16, 13, 10, 7, 0 degrees, and right at the top it says this is for an 018 arch wire. That means that these slots down here that are cut in this, they're in this order of these numbers. And these slots will only accept a rectangular wire that's 018 size wire. Now it can be 018 by, in this case 025. It could be 018 by something else, but it has to be 018 in order to fit in this slot. Now the numbers that are up here that correspond to these grooves, these numbers are the amount of torque. You can see their degrees: 16 degrees, 13 degrees, 10 degrees, 7 degrees, and 0. That means that you can actually take a piece of straight wire and fabricate a wire at 0 degrees. It's just going to be a flat arch wire, just like the ones you buy. But let's say that you wanted to put torque in the wire, so that, let's say, all the anterior teeth in an arch, you wanted all of them to the crowns to be torqued out to the labial, and you wanted the roots torqued more towards the lingual. You could put any one of these amounts of torque in that wire. So in these two exercises I'm going to demonstrate, we're just going to do a couple of wires that are at 0 degrees. We're just making our own arch wires instead of buying them out of straight wire stock. And then we're also going to make a couple of wires that have torque in them, and we'll show how to do that as well. So you lay it in that top groove. It's going to be 0 degrees. You slide this rod over that, Okay? So it's just sitting in that groove. And what you do is you hold the turret with one hand and you're going to rotate this other knob that's connected to this rod, and it's going to just start shaping. That into an arc. Now when you get it all the way around to your finger on the other side, and you kind of crossed them, see there, then you can hold that side down, that wire down, while you come back around to the other side. And again, you're going to cross it again. So again, all you're doing is you go one way, you hold that side down, you go the other way, and then you pull that loose, and you've created this arc. Now, when you bend it back out and flatten it, see, it's going to lay flat on the paper. But now we need to make it an upper or a lower. And you can get templates. You can probably find these online. I just Xerox copied a couple of our own Archwires, prefab Archwires, which is there's a lower one there and an upper one, and we just lay this in here, and it's really almost perfect lower Archwire already. It needs a little bit of curve, which you just sweep that in with your fingers. You just sweep the curve in and form the Archwire. Make sure you flatten it out. And the reason we're using a whole piece is it's more flexible and easier to bend it when you're using a longer piece. It seems cumbersome, but it's actually a little easier. And you just get it, you just work with it till you're, satisfied with that you've got it matching your template. So there's the lower. And we'll do that again for the upper. There's your numbers. The groove closest to the top is the 0 or no torque. We slip it in the torquing turret. And again, I'm just going to start rotating this about. And you hold that side down, you start coming around the other side, and you just work that turret around until you've got enough curve in that wire that you're happy with the amount of curvature. And that's the way that Archwires were fabricated in the good old days, and that's why you guys buy them all prefabricated nowadays. And this wire is these wires are gonna lay flat, and they've got no torque. We just have to work with this until we get it to the shape of the arc that we want. Okay, so I've got these curves swept in. I've got them laying on my templates, and so now you can see this is the upper, and I'm just going to mark it so I can cut it. But I wanted you to see that I'm just using my template as a guide. And again, you could buy a template or just make your own, and I'm just going to cut these wires. So I'll mark them so that I can cut them, and then we've made our own Archwires. So there's the upper. And here's the lower. And those will basically just lay flat. And that's how you fabricate your own upper and lower arch wires. And I just threw down a couple of prefab wires on top of these just to show you that they're in the same ballpark, because there are the two wires that we just bent, and then laying right on top of them are store-bought prefab 018 by 025, or actually they're 019 by 025 arch wires. So the arch form, you can really get it close, and you can make them. You have the choice. There are a lot of templates out there that you can buy or order online that have narrow arch form, wide arch form. You can have a Gothic arch or a broad arch form, and you could bend those wires yourself. And if you needed them, you could always do that with a torquing turret. Okay, and for the next part of this exercise in fabricating arch wires, I'll show you the more important application of this torquing turret. And I've got my other torquing turret out because now you can see the numbers a little more clearly. The other one was probably 34 years old. But anyway, this one you can pretty much clearly see that it's an 018 torquing turret. It's used 0, 7, 10, 13, and 16 degrees is what it will put in torque. Now, I'm only going to do one torqued wire, but the scenario is this. It doesn't matter if it was an upper or a lower, but let's just pretend that our lower anterior teeth are really laid back lingually. They're just, maybe it was a lip sucker, or a patient that's just really got those teeth laid back, and you would like to put torque on the wire, the entire wire on the anterior part of it. You would like all of it to torque those teeth maybe 10 degrees more than what is built into the bracket. So in that situation, you can buy today wires that are pre-torqued. But again, if you have some straight wire and you've got a torquing turret, you can pick whatever amount of torque you want to put in the wire, because if you have a lot of torque to do, you may have to start with maybe just putting 7 degrees in, and then the next time put a 10 degree, and then a 13, and then a 16 degree wire in, so that you just start dumping those anterior teeth forward and torquing the roots back, because it's going to do both. It's going to put labial crown torque and lingual root torque. If you flipped it over, it'll do just the reverse. Okay, so we take our piece of wire. This time we're going to shoot in the middle. We're going to just say we're going to put 10 degrees of torque in here. So right in the middle groove, we'll put our wire, and once we get it lined up, we just slide that over like that. So once we've got it in this position, now we've got to hold it real firmly in that groove, and that's the hard part of this. And the more torque you put in it, the harder it is to control. But you got to just roll that around till it comes all the way. And you got to hold that side down while you go the other way. Again, I'm trying to do this so that you guys can see it. It makes it a lot harder for me. But the thing is that now that we've done this, this wire is no longer flat. This wire now has 10 degrees of torque. So we could get our template back out and go to our lower arch to just check our shape and kind of play around with that shape a little bit. And then we could clip this thing to the right length. I can curve this out some more. You can bring those legs out some more. what the important part of this, and what I want you to see, is what we've done to the front part of this wire. Because now, if it was just a regular wire, this would just be flat. But now when we grab this, look at how much torque we put in it. Can you see that? That's 10 degrees of torque that we put in that entire wire. And that's going to put that much torque on those the roots of those and crowns of those teeth, and it's adding that torque to the torque that's already built into the bracket. So to finish this up, what you would do is you would cut it more to length. So we would just mark it. Cut the ends. But now the other part of this is whatever torque we put in this wire, again, if we put that much torque in that wire, that's also how much torque we have in the back. So it's just like any other situation where like an ACRC, we have to take that torque out, so because we don't want it in the back. So you're going to grab the wire around the canine area, and you're going to grab the distal end, and you're just going to rotate it out to take the torque out. Then you do the same thing on the other side. Now we've taken the torque out of the distal legs, and we've only got that torque of 10 degrees in the front. And that concludes our demonstration.